Hi, I'm Allison Miller from the Camp Shopping Channel, and I am excited to be here today with Natalie Williams from Netball America. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited too because I know right now I'm going to learn a lot about a sport that I don't know a lot about, except I hear about netball all the time. So, Natalie, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I grew up in the UK, Wales specifically, and sport has always been a passion of mine, especially netball. Netball has always been my favorite, even though I did participate in a range of different sports. And my background, education-wise, is sport and exercise science. I did my degree at Loughborough University, and then I stayed on to do my teacher credential after that at Loughborough, in PE. Yeah, so I taught in high school. And in the UK, high school is like 11, 12 years old up until 18. So there's no middle school. So it's the broad range of abilities and ages. And my husband works in professional sports, so we move around a lot.
Oh.
Luckily, when we were in the UK, we were quite central in England, so he could kind of commute. But now it's taken us internationally. So that's why I'm actually in the US now. We were in Canada for 5 years in Toronto, and then now we're in Los Angeles. So I get to move around a little bit, get to work with different people, meet new people, different cultures. It's amazing. So I actually transitioned from high school teaching into lecturing or a professor at the university. I worked at University of Toronto for 5 years, and now I'm currently at Cal State Long Beach. So
Wow.
absolutely love what I do. I work with trainee PE teachers right now, and I'm trying to get netball across to them as well.
That's wonderful. So how did you become associated with Netball America?
Well, Netball America. So my new title is VP of Education. So I work obviously within that education realm is, educating teachers, going to conferences. We do demos. We have booths set up in different conferences, just getting that word out there about netball, what it is, and why it's something that they should teach at schools.
That,
Um, yeah, so I love netball. I actually play netball in Los Angeles. We have a team here. Well, we have to have two teams here. And I reached out to our president and just to see if there was anything, I heard that there was education opportunities. So I reached out and I've been working with them now for about 2 years. So absolutely love it. And I get to do something that I love every day. So it's brilliant.
I love that. That's great. So let's talk netball. So why don't we just get right to like, tell me about the sport. Tell me what I need to, teach my campers netball.
Yeah, so when I'm thinking of a camp as well, I did Camp America 2 years in a row when
Oh,
I was
wow.
in university. So I know the camp, environment. I know what it entails. And netball, I would have loved to have taught netball if it was an option
Mhm.
at my camp. So made so many friends, and the children just want to play new games, and it's exciting, it's fun. So
Wait.
what?
We have to
Oh, go
stop for
on,
a sec.
go
Okay,
on
so
then.
you did Camp America for 2 years. So
Yeah.
this is why I'm really interested in netball too, because we hire so many international staff and they all come and they're all like, I play netball. I play netball. Do you do netball at camp? And we don't have the equipment. Most of us don't have the equipment. And so when the counselors do want to teach it, it's like, oh, I wish we could, but we really don't have what you need. So that's what really attracted me to this because I feel like I'm always hearing from our staff how much they love this game.
Yeah, for sure. And, netball is being taught in schools around the country now. We try and get to as many school districts as we can. So they may have heard of it, they might have even played it, or, it's something new and exciting for them. So, yeah, and I know you have lots of international counselors, so that's why this is going to be amazing. It's played by 20 million people worldwide,
Wow.
all ages, all abilities, all genders, and it's just, I don't know, it's just the most amazing sport. So, and it's probably the biggest women's sport in most of those countries as well.
Right. That's what I hear.
So, yeah, so I think that that's really, it's really cool about it. And I think your counselors, that will kind of motivate them to come over as well, because it's a big thing to come over for the whole summer. And I think if they can teach something or coach something that they're familiar with, it's a little bit different. I know that
Hmm.
that was something I was worried about when I went to camp is it was a lot of new sports. Yes, I'd played a bit of basketball or softball, but I'd never taught them. So it was just a new opportunity. So I think if you can put some familiarity in there as well, I think that would be great. So let me break it down. So netball, the basics of netball. Basically, there's no dribbling, there's no backboard on the post, just a freestanding post. No contact, no running with the ball. So it's very much a combination of a bit of basketball, European handball, and ultimate frisbee. That's the way I explain it in
Okay.
one, yeah. Bring them together, and that's essentially what it is. And the ultimate frisbee is a big one there because you can't move with the disc. It's the only sport really that resembles that skill and that rule. So it's a lot of passing, a lot of moving, and it's a true team sport, which is amazing to see.
And there's a lot of positions. Like I know I'm very familiar with the, do you call them bibs or pennies or
I use both now because I teach here, so I have to sometimes, yeah, use every word possible.
and those are very specific to the positions that you're playing. So that's kind of
Mhm.
fun for the kids to understand and learn like what
Yeah.
each position does, right?
For sure. So a lot of discipline because you have to know your role in the game. And because it's a passing game and there's zones, everybody's involved because you can't just have a ball hogger who dribbles the ball up all the way up the court. You're only you're restricted to certain zones. So once you've got the ball, you have to pass to someone and they have to be in they have to be able to move within that zone. So you have to know your role, but also everyone else's role as well. So it's a lot of self-discipline, gives them confidence in their role. And what I usually find is you can find a position for everyone because some children love to shoot. You can only have two shooters in netball, which is something very different. Um, some students like to defend. Some like to run around a lot, some don't. And there's kind of like a position for everyone. And, if you're a coach, you can kind of match them up. If there's two tall players, you can match them up together. If there's someone who's wants to run around, they're really fast, you could match up people together. So I think it's a great sport to bring into a camp because of those reasons.
And is it like sort of soccer and basketball where you really like learn your position and kind of, when you go to play, you're sort of that I'm not the best sport person, but you're the
Mhm.
guard and you're typically the guard, or is it fun to learn all the different positions and it doesn't matter so much what people play?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when they're younger, we really encourage them to play all positions. One, they get to play all of them. They understand all of the roles because, for example, if you've got the ball and you're trying to pass to someone in the next zone, but they can't go into that zone, but you don't know that,
Right.
you're wasting time and there might be a turnover of the ball. So you have to know everyone else's roles. And how do you know you don't like something, or how do you know you like something if you haven't tried it? So just mixing them up a little bit. And then as you get older, you start to realize, oh, I really like this position or I'm good at this position. So you tend to stick to that a little bit more.
And the game itself, how long is the game? How many does it have like certain number of periods? Like what's the structure?
Well, that's the great thing about this level is that you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can adapt it however you like. I mean, it can be played on any surface. It can be played with any amount of, yes, there's seven people on each team, but you can play with less. You could play with more. You can modify the game. You could play to start with without positions. That's how I tend to start. So you're doing all the basic skills in netball, no running, no dribbling, no contact, but you can move anywhere. So, you can kind of adapt it however you want. But generally, a netball game is played in quarters. Yeah, they're
Hmm.
like 15-minute quarters. Yeah.
15-minute quarters.
Yeah.
So, but the nice thing about camp, because every camp has a different kind of schedule, if
Hmm.
you have, 25 minutes, you have 30 minutes, you just want to sort of divide it up in quarters. And how many people are typically on a team?
So it's seven. So there are seven positions, but if they've never played before, like I said, you can modify the rules to make it a little bit simpler because there are a lot of rules, just like any sport. But if they're unfamiliar with it, it can be tricky just to start with trying to get used to them more. Yeah.
And when you make a team, you have 7 players that are playing, and
Hmm.
then do you have like subs? And you like, if I were going to send a team to another camp to play, how
Oh,
many
okay.
people would I send like
Mm.
officially on a team?
I mean, I don't know the official amount now. It changes all the time, these things, but you can only make substitutions in the break. So between each quarter, they'll have a break, and you make the substitutions then.
Okay.
So yeah, professional level, there are different rules as well. So, but at the basic level, I mean, keep it simple. And to be honest with you, it's all about the children moving. So the more children that we can get playing and rotating, the better. You could
Right.
come up with something together and be like, okay, we can have a stoppage if you want in the quarter. We could have 8 uh short games and make them, I don't know, 5 minutes in length or something like that, just so that you can rotate the team a little bit more.
Right. So the idea is to get as many kids as involved as possible, especially at camp. You don't want kids sitting around
No.
doing nothing and but you do, it's fine to have them observing. You're going to sub them out.
Yeah.
So having, 24 kids in a group or something, you can keep them pretty active, switch out periods, so one group starts period one, then the next, and then you can
Yep.
rotate or something like that. So it sounds like you can get a lot of kids involved. You Netball America has put together two, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but it put together two packages for
Hmm.
the Camp Shopping Channel, really specifically to help bring this out to camps. And I think the pricing is very reasonable. And you are a nonprofit. Your goal and mission is to get this word out. And you've made this very, I think, pretty affordable for the camps to either have a starter package or this fuller package. But even to make the investment of maybe 2 sets, because you could, have a larger group and have 2 games going on at the same time.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
from a space perspective, you said you can play anywhere. So I assume that means on grass, on pavement, inside on a rainy day, like anywhere.
Yeah, as long as you've got some way of creating the line. So whether that's chalk or tape or cones, you can divide the zones. And even grass, which is very difficult for some sports, but because there's no dribbling, you
Right.
don't need like a hard surface to play on. So grass is fine also. So I know that camps are a bit more restricted. When I was in camp, it was like a black top and grass, and that was it. So and the great thing is, we're talking about modifying games. You don't have to play one full game. You could divide each basketball court essentially into the 3 zones, um, and play across the court. So you could have mini games going on.
Oh,
And you could have maybe, I don't know, 3-on-3 or 4-on-4. So you could have lots of games going on and then rotate them that way.
and it just jumped out at me as you were explaining like the taping. Like, so how important is it that you have the cones, which we all have cones,
Hmm.
most camps, and then or chalk or something? Does that need to be set up in advance of every game, or once they do learn the game, do people know where their zones are, or it has to be marked out?
Yeah, even when they understand the positions, they still need to know where to start and stop. Where are my boundaries, basically? They still need to see them. So yeah, it does. That's something that they will have to set up. But if they're doing netball for a few sessions in a row, then they set it up once and it's done.
Right.
So, and they get quicker at it as well. And it doesn't have to be exact, right? You can just, as long as you've got 3 zones and you have 2 shooting circles and a center circle in the middle, you're totally fine. Um, and when I was talking about the mini games, 3-on-3, 4v4, you could use some basketball courts have like a number of basketball hoops around the edge. So if you don't
Right.
have netball posts or you only have 2, you could still play those and you could use the basketball hoops. Just don't use the backboard. So if it hits the backboard, you have to assume that it's gone out of play and the other team start with the ball. Or you could use hoops. I've used hoops. So somebody, and
Oh,
then, if somebody's not playing at the time, they can hold the hoop so people can shoot into the hoop.
right.
So there's lots of different ways, or buckets, or whatever you've got, really.
Yeah, well, it's really nice that this game is adaptable. Camps have different budgets and different facilities. So to
Yeah.
know that, if you want to bring this to your camp, it doesn't require all of this equipment. If you have, like a bucket, a hula hoop, all of those things.
Yeah,
But I will say what I think is really cool is the netball net.
I
It
know.
is
It's
really
unique.
cool.
It's
So
unique.
let's talk about like what's in the set because I think that is kind of fun. I didn't even know it was accessible, like to get like this whole kit. And I was like, this is great. We can really play. And you also put in the pennies as well. Like
Yeah.
there's everything's
Hmm.
in there. So do you want to go through?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a starter pack and a full set. So basically, they're exactly the same, apart from package A, which is the starter pack, doesn't have the posts. The posts are obviously the most expensive piece of equipment. So we don't have the posts in that starter pack. But like I said, you can use basketball hoops for now. You could use hoops. You could use buckets, whatever you've got, something that they can shoot into. It still has the same effect, and you can still play with the basic skills. It's just the shooting is a little bit different, that's all.
Right.
And then the package B, yeah, like the full set. And I will say that both packages come with, coaching course, access to coaching courses. So you get one free with every purchase. And, if someone wants to just refresh themselves, if they haven't played netball for a while, or they want to have a certification in the US, American netball environment, then that would be great too. So, educate yourself, find out a little bit more because everyone's played, but maybe they haven't played for a while. So they might want to refresh some of that information.
Yeah, and so the starter pack basically doesn't include the nets, right? The
Yeah,
posts. The regular package has the posts in there. And also, like I said, the pennies. So
yeah.
I'm fascinated by the pennies. I don't know
Mm.
why, but can you tell me, so it says what position you are. That's the whole point of them, right? It's not to say I'm
Yeah.
on the red team or the yellow team. It's to
Hmm.
say this is my role on the court. When they play professionally, are they like they just wearing uniforms? The pennies you have, are they for training or is that what everybody wears when they play?
No, everyone wears them because when you're playing, you need to know who's playing in what position, where they're allowed to move. So it's just knowing where people can go in those zones. So everyone has to know that, and the umpires need to know that as well. Who's onside, who's offside, are they in the correct zone? So everybody wears them, and they are vitally important. So yeah, they come with pennies, and they also come with balls as well. We've got the full size balls. And we've also got some mini ones. I don't know if you can see this. We've got some little mini
Yep.
netballs. This is actually very small. Ooh, it's in my hand there. These are great for young children because it is a netball and it's grippy like a netball. They're kind of like the same size as like a soccer ball or a volleyball, but a little bit grippier. So we designed some smaller netballs because children have smaller hands. So it just enables them to be a bit more successful with the skills.
And, I've been scouting like around to try to get some videos so that people can actually see what we're talking about. And I was looking at the US Open Netball Championships. So I was noticing too, and I'm going to try to share my screen so that people can see it, that the teams are co-ed, right? This is not like yeah, at least in this particular video. And I think sometimes to find a sport that you can play with boys and girls that's non-contact is very attractive to camps too.
For sure.
Uh,
I think so the US Open, we have a women's division and a mixed gender division. So yeah, it's the best thing is that you can modify it no matter how old the students are, their ability, their gender, you can mix them all up together.
yeah, so this is some footage. Yeah. And so you can see the pennies that we were talking about with the positions on them. You see the
Hmm.
net with the post.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain the game a little bit.
One thing that I haven't mentioned yet is just how transferable skills are from the activities and the sports that they already play. So if we think about basketball, handball, frisbee, all of these skills are coming into it. So we're changing direction, we're accelerating, we're having to stop quite suddenly, jumping, landing, shooting. And it's all about, you tend to stay with your opposing player. Okay, so you'll tend to stick with them and defend them and try and stop them getting the ball. So yeah, so it's quite quick moving and lots of quick decision making, and everybody's involved because of the zones.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
It really is. Once you've
I,
got used to the rules, it's so much fun. Yeah.
yeah. And now you have created a book, Netball America has a,
hmm
yeah. So let's talk about Netball Sprouts because this is
Mm.
really, really great.
So this book is a passion of mine because in conferences and professional development days, I kept getting asked, especially by elementary school teachers, but also by, from middle school, high school, they were just like, where do we start? We are developing a curriculum and it will be very detailed, but there was nothing out there for young children,
Right.
fun games that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of these activities are activities that you play with other sports and activities, but they're just modified to include some sort of netball element. So whether it's the footwork, whether it's the land jumping and landing, whether it's the pivoting, okay, whatever it is, we made a book that provides lots of different games and has a netball spin. And we've just tried to make it quite engaging for that kind of age group. We've got it's very colorful, and we have some characters. I'm trying to find the characters that you can kind of see along the way. So in every activity, you'll see the characters come to life. And yeah, it's just a fun way to learn netball. And also, the first few pages are just general information about netball. So they tell you about the different passes, they tell you basic rules of netball. I don't know if you can see that very well, sorry.
Yep. Hmm.
Basic rules of netball. So it's a fun, engaging way, and it's not too complex. It's very simple, just a way to pick it up, choose some ideas, and get netball into your school or your camp or whatever it is.
I think it's going to be a big hit this summer because not only are the staff coming that are like super passionate about the game,
hmm
but I also see, watching the video of the players, basketball's really popular here. Soccer is really popular here. Like they're in the
hmm
US, we are already, our kids have already developed a lot of the skills that go right into this game. So to be able to
Exactly.
take that and, because I'm thinking about the older kids,
Yeah.
this to look at the younger kids and you're teaching them something new. But finding something fun for the older kids at camp sometimes is really hard. So when you give them a new sport, but they have the skills already to be successful at the sport, it makes it
Exactly.
so much more fun. And
hmm
a lot of the games you mentioned, Ultimate is really popular with our older kids. European handball is really popular with our older kids, and so is basketball. So you put all those things together. I don't see why they wouldn't have like an awesome, awesome time. So I plan to introduce netball. I've been waiting to introduce netball to camp, so this is my summer to do it.
Okay.
I'm excited about that. And I love all the support that your organization gives. There's a lot of great information on the website. I know as more and more camps catch on, you're so willing to provide, information for camp counselors, training videos, whatever it is that's going to help kids learn the sport. And camp is such it's
Oh
perfect
yeah.
time, for kids to be able to explore something new, outside of the classroom.
For sure. And this book is great for that because even if they're slightly older, you can use a lot of these games for warm-ups or just to, practice the skills, reinforce the skills. And they're not just for the young children. We all love playing fun games. So I think it's brilliant. So yeah, so I'm really excited for you. I love my experience as a camp counselor. Obviously, I went back twice, but you just make so many friends, international friends, which is the best thing. And if you can teach them all something new, I think that would be great.
Yeah, one other thing I was going to say, so you're from the UK and like I
hmm
find it's really popular with our Australian staff. Like that
Both.
it
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
hmm
Where did that ball start? What is its
Well,
origin?
it originated from basketball. That's where it started. Women, the way that they dressed years ago, made it very difficult for them to dribble. So basically, they kind of revised the rules slightly and made it more of a passing game for them. They used to get caught in their bloomers and everything. And they used to use like peach baskets to kind of shoot. So that's where the basket thing came from. But as it's evolved now, they changed the rules and then it became its own sport of netball. So it has originated from basketball, but we removed that kind of dribbling element. Yeah. So it's quite interesting how it evolved. And yeah, we just need more exposure for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. And here at Happy Camp for Lives Camp Shopping Channel, we are going to bring netball to camps across America. And I really appreciate you taking the time today to talk with me. I think it helps for camps to understand the game
Hmm.
because take a little bit of the mystery out of it. I think camp counselors come, they talk about it, and we're like, oh, we just don't have what you need to do that. But you've made it really easy to do that. So thank you for being here, and we're excited. We'll have you back again when I know more about the sport too,
For
and I
sure.
can
For
talk
sure.
more about it next year. Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you.